Diana McCallum.
Hi, I'm Andrew Ivimey.
And this is Fan vs. Fan for episode 8 of The Flash.
It's really great to see everyone. I wish it wasn't just the dark times that brought us together.
The man you're looking for is Vandal Savage. Well, who is he? An immortal.
You're not going to get rid of him.
Watch us.
Everyone in there is willing to die to protect us. You don't think that's a little bit insane?
I think it's what makes them all heroes.
Now, Kendra!
Flash and Arrow, heroes join forces, Tuesday, December 1st on the CW.
All right, so first of all, let's recap tonight's episode of The Flash. We've got a lot going on tonight, as a lot of you at home probably already know. This is part 1 of their 2-part epic crossover event between The Flash and Arrow. So if you want to check out the other half, I don't know if you're already an Arrow watcher, but be sure to check out tomorrow night's episode of Arrow. But tonight we got the Arrow crew coming in. We've got a little setup for the Legends of Tomorrow, the spin-off show soon to be. We're seeing a little Cisco Kendra romance, perhaps the end of that romance. We've got the immortal Vandal Savage, and we've got Hawkman swooping in, stealing love away. That was tonight on The Flash, and there was so much going on, we're going to jump right in to Easter eggs. All right, Easter eggs on tonight's episode of The Flash. I know there was a lot going on. Diana, what do we got?
There's a lot going on. I'm going to break down the ones that are kind of the most important to understand the episode and what's going on and fun in the comics. So first one, Vandal Savage.
Yes.
Vandal Savage is a really fun villain. He's a great Justice League villain. He is immortal. He doesn't usually have these knives in the comics, but he needs a weapon.
But they're nice, though. I like these fun knives.
Sometimes he does no magic. He is immortal in the comics. He actually is a caveman who became immortal from a meteorite.
Ah.
Yeah, and also made him super smart. You'd think he'd be really short then, though. Because, I don't know if you keep... Cavemen, we've evolved to be a little bit... He seems to be a very tall caveman. I don't know if he's a caveman, though, because in the comics he's not connected to...
Even though he's immortal, he might still, evolve as, one person. Maybe he's, mutating and changing his, posture and existence over the centuries.
Darwin would be going crazy over this.
There's a lot to study about who Vandal Savage is as a person.
Vandal Savage thing.
Yeah.
In the comics, he's not connected to the Hawks at all. He's just a guy who likes to try to take over the world, but, not kill everyone, because then he'd be alone, because he's immortal.
Yeah, that'd be sad.
Yeah, his immortality kind of gets him stuck a lot. He doesn't seem like he knows what he wants. He's like, I don't know.
Now, that being said, he doesn't seem to be working real hard at making friends right now. I get he doesn't want to be totally alone, but he's not anyone's best friend.
All right, and now we're going to move on to the Hawks. Hawkman, Hawkgirl.
Yep.
So, on the show, we're going with that they're reincarnated Egyptian gods/people. So they have 2 origins in the comics, which is, they have one of them, which is the gods, but more often than not, they're aliens who just have hawk wings, called the Thanagarians. In the comics, they're usually aliens. I understand why they wouldn't go with aliens.
Seems like they're not going alien direction.
It's weird that reincarnated gods is more realistic than aliens.
You make a strong point. You make a strong point there. Yeah.
Because, Superman shows up and he's an alien. We're like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But people with wings show up and we're like, aliens, weird.
No, you're probably a reincarnated Egyptian god, obviously.
That's the most obvious answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, magic is more prevalent than just aliens on this show. So usually they have, their weapons are really cool, made of this nth metal that's, indestructible and super hard. So I think really all of their technology is just magic in this realm now.
Right. There was some weird little inconsistencies with that in this episode. The nth metal mace did knock over the motorcycle, but then when he threw it at Oliver, he just batted it away with his bow. And I'm like, that was a little inconsistent.
Mace.
Maybe it's just a regular mace.
But also magic because their wings just disappear.
Maybe that mace is a reincarnated Egyptian god. You don't know.
I don't. We don't have any answers.
What else do you know, though?
What else do I know? Okay. You're probably confused if you don't watch Arrow. What was up with that kid at the end?
Yeah. Who are any of these people, you probably say, if you don't watch Arrow? You're like, what is that guy who we've seen in a bunch of film with blonde hair who had that delightful reaction to The Flash? Who are the people who came out of the shadows? They're the League of Shadows. That one actually kind of adds up and explains itself. But...
you know what? They really live up to the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the kid was Connor Hawke. That is actually Oliver's child that he doesn't know about. So Green Arrow had got a lady pregnant. She lied and told him he had a miscarriage because his mom bought her off to go live in Central City.
Correct.
So he sees the mom and thinks, hey, I got that lady pregnant 8 years ago and there's an 8-year-old child. Wonder if it's mine. And he's a Flash fan.
Yeah. The kid's a
know.
Flash fan.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what put it together for him. He was like, that couldn't be mine. Wait a minute. We both like Barry now. I don't know.
It could be a really nice bonding if he does meet the kid. Like, I know the Flash.
Yeah, that would be good.
And then just like an actual Easter egg, not about the episode. The thing Harrison Wells makes in the episode Velocity 6. It's actually in the comics a drug called Velocity 9, which is made by Vandal Savage to create super speeds.
Okay. So we lost 3 velocities.
Well, we might gain 3. It could be like his plan in the future.
I'm hoping we get those 3 extra velocities.
Sticking around.
Where did they go?
Got 3 velocities to go. Well, like, we're trying to make Barry faster. We're only at 6.
Right. Like 9 is going to be better. Like, I'm not much of a scientist, but I feel like that Velocity 9, that's going to be 3 more.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's all the really big points that you need to cover in this episode for Arrow.
I mean, I think that those are the big ones. There might be a little thing here and there which was a little bit difficult to follow if you didn't watch Arrow, but most of it clued in. We had John Barrowman playing Malcolm Merlin, who is the head of the League of League of Shadows or Assassins.
Both.
Both, either or, however you want to play that. League of Assassins, League of Shadows if you're nasty. I don't know why I did that. I regret everything. But we had that going on. No, you don't. We had that going on. And then, Oliver's Kid, which was a plant from like 2 years ago in Arrow. So that's really coming back.
Oh, fun fact, though. Oliver's Kid is named Connor Hawk, and this episode was about the Hawk people.
So it's all coming around.
It's all coming together.
All right, let's talk about pros for tonight's episode. Let's get into pros. All right, pros. What did we like? Diana, what'd you like?
I love every time they do a crossover this happens, but everyone is having so much fun in these ones. Yeah, it's just that's literally all it is. Like, even serious characters are having fun. The fun characters are having more fun. Like, I watch Arrow, and Damien Dark doesn't normally giggle. That guy at the beginning that
giggle was delightful.
Yeah.
That first reaction to the Flash. Damien Dark, a pretty severe and dark character, one would say. Like League of Shadows, living up to the name. But just that first interaction with the Flash, just boom, and that oh boy, like a kid on Christmas. That was so much fun.
Yeah, because Damien Dark normally just fights Arrow, who's a guy with a bow and arrow, and he's like, I can beat this guy. The Flash runs past, he's like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel bad for Damien Dark that doesn't get to fight him.
Well, like I think it was fun because it's exciting for that character because he's operating in the Arrow world, a world typically without metahumans. Damien Dark is one. And that was kind of like a nice moment for him of being like, hey, no more of this Arrow crap. Like that's going to be a nice scale up in lifestyle, I think, all of a sudden.
It's great. And everyone just has so much fun. Like that long scene in the loft, nothing happened, but I loved it. I was like, I love superheroes just hanging out.
Everyone got to play off one another a lot stronger, a lot better. And like everybody gets like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue and it keeps it like sharp, snappy, and just like stick and move, and it was just well edited, well directed, and everybody is at their most charming.
Yeah. So really, that's just my huge pro of this episode. Just everyone was having fun.
Yeah.
It's so delightful seeing superheroes with superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just teaming up. But like teaming up wonderfully. Like it's so easy to do like the Batman v Superman stuff. Like get out of my city, you get out of my city. And like I just like them working together and being friends.
Right.
And like we all fight evil.
Right. And I get what you're saying with the like it makes everything a little bit more fun. But I've said this before, and I think that this is true of tonight's episode. One of the pros for me is the fact that they balance each other really well working in conjunction. Arrow's severity balances out the Flash's playfulness, and I think it creates a much more well-rounded and complete universe that they both exist in. Sometimes the Flash can be episodes of a little bit too much silly, a little bit too much fluff, a little bit too much of a, what's happening when Cisco can't go on that date with Kendra, and I'm like, that's a little too much fluff, But Arrows can sometimes fall into too much of the severe. It just balances each other out really well, and this episode showcased that.
But especially because Flash actually, Barry specifically, hasn't been super fun all the time. Like, season 1, first half was just fun.
Right.
But Barry's gotten more serious with the more serious things he has to deal with.
Okay.
And he seems a lot more fun around Oliver and Felicity. Like, I feel like the writers write him more lighthearted when Arrow's in the scenes to contrast them better. And it's just great to watch.
I get that.
I think it works better for all the characters involved.
And I did like the speed of this episode. That's another pro for me, is that this moved along really quickly, and it had to. When it comes to something like this, like a crossover event, I mean, we're talking about The Flash, we're talking about the Arrow, and we're planting seeds for the Legends of Tomorrow spin-off show that's going to be up and coming. So we have a lot to hit really quickly, and it's really easy in that realm to fall into an episode of filler, of just, we've got so much going on, we're just going to let it sit. We can have long, drawn-out scenes that are nothing but exposition, nothing but setting up each of these series, nothing but setting up that spin-off series, and we're supposed to be just excited about the fact that this exists, and we don't need to be excited about what they're doing. But I felt like it moved very quickly, as it had to, and that really kept this flowing for me. How quickly Kendra got in the loop, that could have been an episode of filler on its own, of just like, what are we going to do about Kendra? I like how quickly this moved.
No, I definitely agree, because I feel like there's an easy version of this script to write that wouldn't have been as good, which is just catching Hawkman, and she becomes Hawkgirl at the end of the episode, hardly any Vandal stuff. Yeah. Like, I feel like they could have just, like, fought Hawkman, like, 3 times, and that wouldn't have been as good an episode. But, like, it would have been an episode that you usually get when you're trying to do a 2-parter. So, yeah, they just, like, they shoved everything in there. Like, no, we got to set up a new show. We got to have a fun 2-parter. Yeah. We're going to throw every villain on both shows in.
And I really liked even the return of Jay. I felt like that was a great, I think at that point it might have been like a C tier or a D tier storyline that was really buried down deep, but I liked the return of Jay. I liked the complication of Speed 6, and I liked that he had to come around and be the one to save Wells despite his disdain for the project. It was a little weird for him to just kind of pop in, but yeah, I liked his addition.
I did like his addition. I will say I didn't really like that he was very morally against Velocity 6, but he didn't stick around to ensure nothing was used with it. He wasn't like, get Barry to call me, I'm going to talk to Barry and make sure he doesn't use this. He was like, you don't make sure Barry doesn't do it. Yeah, tell Barry not to do it. And then he just leaves and takes no further responsibility. I was like, I feel like you'd stick around and like ensure nothing is done. I
feel like you would. Now that's going to lead into, let's use that to lead into the cons. Let's talk about cons of tonight's episode. All right, so cons tonight's episode. You didn't like the fact that Jay didn't stick around. What else didn't you like?
I thought this was a really hard episode to watch for people who don't watch Arrow.
Okay.
I feel like I do watch Arrow, so I thought it was really fun. But even as I watched it, we were watching it with some people who don't watch Arrow, and things were very confusing for them. And I thought it was a little unfair. I think crossovers should be fun and easy.
Okay.
Like, Thea wasn't explained. She's never been on Flash before.
Right.
That whole Oliver's kid thing only seems to come up on Flash episodes.
I feel like that was the worst part of this episode for people who don't watch Arrow.
But I also don't think you needed any of the, not that I didn't like seeing them, but we didn't need Damien Darhk and Malcolm Merlyn.
But even if you don't know those people, and it's hard as well for me to extrapolate that as someone who watches Arrow as to like, what would this episode be like if I didn't? But I felt like those were charming little moments. Even when it's like, yes, we don't know Thea, we don't know Speedy. If we haven't been watching Arrow, we don't know that. But just that little moment of like, what? The Flash? We know the Flash? I felt like they did a really good job of throwing in just a handful of little throwaway lines to give you some filler between the last crossover to this crossover if you haven't watched an episode of Arrow before, with the exception of Oliver's Kid. Which, in all honesty, even if you watch Arrow religiously, that came up once 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was season
and
2.
Never again. That's the slowest burn of plot lines that I can recall any show doing. That is a long seed.
See, what I'm hoping actually, since we're going into like Legends of Tomorrow with time travel, is I'm hoping we're going to meet Connor later as a Green Arrow.
Oh, that would be really fun.
Which is why I'm like, okay, they reintroduce him right now, right before Legends comes on, because that's airing in January. And then we jump ahead like 10 years in the future, like, Green Arrow? Oliver's like, no, Connor Hawk. And like, that's cool.
If they don't do that, that's a real missed opportunity, because that sounds phenomenal. I would absolutely want to watch that. One big con that I'll put down for tonight's episode, though, is, first of all, there's no chemistry between Kendra and Cisco. There is just none. I don't buy it in any regard. Even from that first ask out of like, you're a human being who works at a coffee shop. Want to go out? No. I'm sorry about the other day. Yes. I'm Cisco. I have to leave this movie. Okay. I got these things for dinner. We're interrupted. I'm like, you've had like 2 dates. And then for that arc of the episode to end with her saying things like, I just can't do this right now, Cisco. You're holding me back. You've had, I think, 2/3 of one date.
No,
like,
she
no
said,
one's holding anyone back. You had a canceled movie and a dinner that was interrupted.
She said at one point that these few weeks with you have been great because I just moved to the city.
Okay.
So they've had more than one date.
Okay.
But
laying that down doesn't make me feel that.
I half agree. Because their movie date was terrible.
Yeah.
And also because I feel like there was probably good dates that they didn't show, it just seems like Kendra's doing all the work and Cisco's just being a jerk because he shows up late to that date and then she's like, I cooked us professional level meals and I have them waiting.
She's doing all the heavy lifting in this scenario. Cisco does not know how to ask a person out. He cancels that movie last minute with zero excuse. He's not choosing the restaurant, making dinner, or providing any input whatsoever. Being like, why do you even want to go out with this placeholder of a human being? I'm sorry, Cisco, but you're bringing nothing to the table. And here's the thing. I'm not even mad at Cisco. I'm mad at the chemistry between these two characters. Kendra seems entirely tolerable, but I don't have a feel for her because she's being told through Cisco, and I don't feel their relationship at all. And Cisco, even though I've found him charming in the past, I just don't care because we're getting his charming through dead weight in a relationship. It doesn't work for me.
I don't know. I thought their moment when they talked about having powers was nice and they really connected there.
Yeah.
And I feel like she has just as much chemistry with him as she does this Carter Hall guy. I didn't really feel much out of him.
I didn't feel much out of him.
They should have had more scenes with him, though. If you're going to go with the whole he's my soulmate, she's my soulmate, reincarnated thing, I feel like there should immediately be like, wow. As soon as you see that person, your body should not tense up, but there should be a really long look.
And she bought into that real quick.
She chopped up the
real quick. You've got to give someone at least a 12-hour window to digest that. But to same night.
It's been out. And also, the first
This
time,
woman will just go out with anybody.
Wait a minute. The first time she got pushed off the roof, her wings didn't come out.
That's right.
He nearly murdered her.
That's right.
And didn't feel bad at all.
That's right.
About
She was
this soulmate that
she
he
was
loves.
let's do it again. He's probably right. I mean, Cisco asked me out, and I just go and do things, and he's saying stuff, so I'm doing stuff. You are the most trusting human being surrounded by placeholder characters that are offering nothing to the dynamic of who you are. And I feel like she might have potential. I'm excited to see what Kendra, Hawkgirl, brings to the table. And I think it could be good casting, but it's hard to tell because the dynamics aren't figured out yet. And maybe they won't be. They just don't know what to do with these dynamics until she's in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and I really hope she gets some memories and some hardness to her because Justice League animated version Hawkgirl is one of my favorite characters of all time, and she's so tough and ready to fight, but not mean about it. She's not a bully. She's just are we gonna fight these guys? I'm ready. And
let's get it done.
Yeah, and I really want her to be that. I love that character, so I really hope she gets her memories back. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm a badass. She just takes off. I think that'll be great if it happens.
Yeah. Either way, I'm excited to see tomorrow night's second part of the Flash and Arrow crossover. So I'm excited to check that out. I'm excited to see where Flash is gonna go next week, and I'm excited to see where they're going to go with Hawkgirl and Hawkman for Legends Tomorrow.
It's a lot to take in, and I'm excited as well. I think it's all going to be great.
Yeah.
And, now we had a contest going on.
That's right. We had a little thing going on here earlier this evening. If you follow Dorkshelf on Twitter, which you absolutely should, at Dorkshelf, we had a Twitter contest. All you had to do was retweet and tune in to tonight's episodes, being this right now, a fan versus fan, to find out if you won the wonderful Season 1 of Arrow on Blu-ray. So if you're not quite sure what's going on in this crossover and you want to catch up and figure it out, this can be for you. So, who won?
And it is for you. All right, Arturo Operario.
Oh.
And if you want to, and I probably pronounced that wrong, but your Twitter tag is @Archie556.
@Archie556. Thanks for retweeting. Thanks for watching. You just won Season 1 of Arrow on Blu-ray. If you haven't watched it, enjoy watching that. And if you have watched it, rewatch the thing. It's still great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark how many times Tommy does a drop in. You'll be delighted.
Tommy loves doing the drop. That's our Easter egg for that show. Count how many times Tommy drops in on a human being. In a world that is our current time with cell phones, that man loves dropping in every opportunity possible. All right, well, that's been our show for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure next week to tweet along with Dork Shelf using hashtag FanVFan. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, which will be below. And
make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Catch all of our videos every week.
Absolutely. I'm Andrew Ivimey.
I'm Diana McCallum.
Bye.
Kicked him out!